we go. All right, Charles. Charles
Morning,
Henson.
Steve.
How's it going, sir?
Well, great, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So you know, you've got a lot of things going on, man. You run Nashville Computer. You help the IT community out a lot on Facebook. I think you just wrote a book.
Yep.
You're an advisory board member of the 20. What is there anything you don't do?
Well, I did dishes this morning, so I don't think so. There's
Oh,
there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the thing is, the more connected we are, and the more people we know, the more knowledge we can obtain. And so I've always had this attitude of what can I do to help other people, and how can I give back to the community that have given to me that got me where I am today. And I've learned more coaching people than I think I have coached people. But they may argue with that. But the way I walk into a situation when I'm looking at like an accountability group or a board meeting or something of that nature, it's like, what can I give in this meeting? And by giving, I end up receiving a lot more. So I don't go in there with the intent of what can I gain from this and what's in it for me. I go into the meeting thinking, how can I help other people? But by listening to the stories and by listening to other people in our industry, I mean, I've learned how to grow Nashville Computer, my business. By being on the advisory board, I've learned, what's coming ahead, things to
hmm.
look for, just planning, planning sessions, and really being a forward thinker and trying to get out there. And that's kind of where this book came from. We saw that there was a problem in our industry. Um, we really looked at this and said, there's a lot of MSPs getting hacked right now, and we don't want to be the next one. And we're a decent sized target. If a hacker were to attack us, attack all of our clients, what we've been building since 1988 could end in one day by one cyber attack. So I rallied the troops, and we do scaling up. And so
Hmm.
we don't do traction, we do scaling up, which pretty much the same concept, but we made it a quarterly initiative to lock down our MSP. And with that lockdown, what we realized is there's too much to do in 3 months. So we did not meet our goals, even though we were focused on it and we were updating every day of locking down the MSP. We realized that there's a lot to our operations of the company, even though it's a small company, there's a lot to it. And so it ended up rolling into a second quarter. And even going into that second quarter, it took us every bit of that quarter to get things accomplished. Of course, we're running an MSP, we're taking care of our clients. It's not like we focused 100% on that, but we set out goals, we set up to get things done. And so I challenged the team. I said, look, let's create the checklist of everything that we've done, everything that we have worked on over the past 6 months, and let's put that together and compile it. And then that's the birth of the book. It's an idea that I'd had a while back, but I had no idea the undertaking that it was going to be, locking down the company the way we did.
Good for you. So you keep mentioning the team. Are you referring to people at the 20 or employees you have?
Employees, yeah, we refer to each other as team because we all work
Absolutely.
together. Yeah. um, and our team's a little bit different. There's things that, as you're looking at these different, like your security stack, you need to rely on your team. If you don't have a team of people, if you're a one or two man shop, then you need to be in a group, an accountability group, in a mastermind group, something where you can get feedback from other people. But our team is the team of employees that we have. We work together, and our team comes first. Our employees come first, and our clients come second. And I'm not shy to tell our customers that as well, our clients, because we want to make sure that we take care of our teammates. And if we take
Hmm.
care of our team, then they will take good care of our clients. But the key thing that the key takeaway, and I don't even remember where I heard this or learned this, but you want to make sure that you're empowering your team so that they can make decisions and they can give you advice, because I'm not the smartest guy in the room. And when it comes to, going with a new backup solution, or going with a new advanced endpoint protection, or whatever that security stack piece is, I would have the guys evaluate the different vendors, and they would collaborate. They would have lunches together, and they would talk about the pros and cons of each. And then as a group, they would come in and say, this is what we feel is the best solution for our clients, and will deliver the best service.
That's really great, man.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear some more. Oh, I can't believe I got all this stuff in my shot. What is wrong with me? My bad. So I would like to hear more about um, what you guys did to kind of strengthen the security of your company. Not because I want all the hackers to learn how to get around it, but because I want all I want all the other MSPs that are watching or listening to this to know, like, what on earth do they need to be doing?
Yeah. Well, when you look at it, um, at the very beginning, we looked at it and passwords were lacking. Some passwords were shared amongst sites, because we want to be able to remember what the admin password is. So if you log into this client or that client, sometimes you share passwords. And that was always a thing through the years, where we would just use shared passwords, which two clients never knew, but
Right.
you would set up passwords, and it was easy for the engineers to remember, because you didn't need to go to IT Glue or some other, uh, platform to get the passwords.
And I know another MSP, they thought, all right, well, we want the passwords to be easier to remember, but we don't want to use the same password everywhere. So they devised something where it was like the zip code of the company, the client,
Hmm.
and then like the first 5 letters of the client name or something like that. Where I mean, okay, so it's 10 characters, and then they're capitalizing something, and then they always put like an asterisk at the end. So they've got an 11 character password, and it's achieving every single piece of, upper lower number symbol. And they thought, well, that's perfect, because now all of our clients have unique passwords, but they're passwords we can remember.
But it's following the same algorithm.
It is.
So if you can decode the algorithm, if you can decrypt it, then you can figure out pretty much any client's passwords. And if you're using
Which,
client testimonials on your website, now you know who their clients are.
yeah, yeah, that's very true. So when you're setting up passwords now, it sounds like you might be using IT glue or something else to store passwords. You're making unique passwords.
Hmm.
You're probably making them maybe a little longer, so that way they're a little more secure. I typically, with my LastPass, I tell it, make me a 25, 30 character password, because I found that a lot of companies will actually limit the length a password can be. And let me
They
tell
do.
you, that's really frustrating for me, Charles.
Hmm.
I was just logging into my American Express account the other day, and it said security is very important to us. So I changed my password. Security is very important to us. And then it has it has to be, you know, uppercase, lowercase numbers. They don't allow symbols, and the
Okay.
password had to be between 8 and 20 characters. Security is very important to American Express, but they limit how secure you can make your password.
Yeah. Eh, Not only that, but you can still store the password in your browser,
Hmm.
which then makes it insecure.
Well,
And
and you got to think though, even if they set there's an HTML switch where you can tell it, oh, browsers aren't allowed to save passwords. Like some banks actually will set that
mhm,
up on the login page, but you can tell the browser to ignore that switch.
yeah, well, you
But
can. The best thing to do, obviously, is not to save the password in your browser.
of course.
But then, American Express is they're going to set their standards,
Hmm.
and we could sit here and debate all day long, but a 20 character password is still better than an 8 character, which is what most companies require. The one thing that I will say is that um, a lot of institutions now are saying don't trust the browser or don't remember this device. So you have to key in your security codes or whatever your security questions were upon every time you enter the site. So, but
Yeah, and
that
I've got a site. I can't even remember what it is I'm logging into, but it's SolarWinds. That's what it is. I'm trying to log into SolarWinds, and every time I do it, I check the little box that says like trust this computer for 30 days, so I don't have to keep pulling out
mhm.
my authenticator. And every time it makes me type that 6-digit code back in again, and I ended up giving up because
Well, let's
it's
talk about
it's
that for a
fine.
moment.
It's
Don't,
it's
don't you
fine,
don't you
but
agree that SolarWinds should not remember your login for 30 days? What
well,
if?
they're not remembering the login. They're just trusting my computer,
Sure.
so that way I don't have to type in the 2FA key on that computer for 30 days.
So let's talk about that from an engineer standpoint. So
Hmm.
your engineers using a Surface or they're using a laptop and they tell it to remember me for 30 days.
Well, but I'm not
They
talking about my engineers, Charles. I'm talking about me.
I'm talking about security for your clients and protecting yourself.
I'm talking
So
about this computer that sits right here all day, every day. And yeah,
and nobody in your community's ever had their house broken into.
never,
Never.
not once.
Okay.
My fingers are crossed. Can you tell?
Yeah, I know. And you're not going to pull up the map that shows the crime reports either, are you? But but the point is, there's certain sites that should not be required or should not let you stay logged in. If it's non-business critical, then it won't matter. But the sites that are business critical, then it should matter. But the case in point is you got to make sure that every password is unique, and it's not just across your clients; it's across all platforms. And then you have to enable two-factor authentication, and that was probably one of the largest obstacles to locking down anything was every login required 2FA. Now, I don't know personally, but I've heard the story of an MSP that had an admin password, and the admin password was the same as their Gmail account, and they were using two-factor authentication using the Google's Authenticator. Well, it doesn't take a genius to understand that you can get your two-factor authentication code if you know the passwords. And so by logging into Google Authenticator using the Gmail account and logging into the admin, it asks for 2FA. By sharing those passwords, you now have the keys to the kingdom. And that's how, as I understand it, one MSP was breached recently by using shared passwords across multiple accounts. And that is absolutely cannot be done anymore. And if you can't remember the passwords, then get something like LastPass and use a password manager. That way you don't have to remember all these passwords. But 2FA is crucial in setting up your MSP, and that's for your PSA, your RMM, anything that is client facing or gives access to your client's machines. remote
Mhm.
control, whether you're using Screen Connect or any other form of remote connection. I don't care which platform you're using. Everything has to have 2FA.
Yeah, I 2FA everything, man. If it can 2FA, I 2FA it. And for years I've been doing this, and I remember family and friends would be like, "Man, that's got to be so annoying." I'm like, yeah, but you know what? It's secure. I don't have
Mhm.
to worry about anybody hacking in or whatever. Um, and now years later, I've got people going, "Man, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I need to figure out how to set this stuff up." And that's when I say, well, good news. That's what I'm here for. So for the low, low price of, um,
And
but I mean, it's insane. Like, I've got a friend who, I mean, he's in manufacturing. So, you know,
mhm,
he, back in high school, he took like an AutoCAD drafting class, but that was really the extent of his technical knowledge. Like he was one of those knew enough to be dangerous kind of guys, and then
mhm,
just kind of fell out of technology. And so he texted me a few months ago when he got a new job, and he said, "Hey, so," and he's a real vulgar guy, so I'm gonna try to redact some of this. He's like, "These assholes over here at this company want me to install this software on my phone, and I don't need them tracking everything that I do, man. This is bull." I'm like, "What do they want to install, man? Like, you're just like a training lead or something." Like he does
mhm.
something like they shouldn't need to be tracking him. So I'm like, what are
Sure.
they? Duo. They asked him to install Duo. I'm like, dude, good for them, man. That's awesome. That is literally just a security tool. It just makes your software more secure at the company. So you install that, you open it up, it gives you a code. The code changes every minute or so. You're fine. They can't track you. They can't track you with Duo, can they?
I don't know. Can they?
I don't know. I don't actually use Duo. But having to explain to people like, oh yeah, this is safe, this is not gonna, he's like, this is my personal phone, if they want to track me, they'll give me a phone. Like, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So I remember being that guy over a decade ago when I was an employee. Like,
Yeah.
you want to track me, you give me a phone, man.
Yeah.
but
Well,
but then but then on the flip side, like, now I'm understanding, oh, this is real security. Like, yeah, every employee needs to have this, and obviously it should be on the smartphone, so that way you don't have like Authy running on your computer.
right. But it's funny that you talk about this because his perception was they're tracking everything.
Yeah.
And one thing that really we've changed this in our sales process and in talking with clients is we used to say we want to install our remote um, monitoring tools, and
Right.
we don't call it that anymore.
What do you
We
call
call
it?
it a remote management tool. We're going to manage the
Ah.
machine, not monitor the machine, because people's perception was that, well, I don't want you seeing everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, people's
And they
perception is you're Edward Snowden now, and you're
you're
monitoring, you're
you're
tracking them.
exactly. And that's not what the tool is used for. As we all know, it's used to maintain the machine. So we just changed that little bit, and it totally changes the conversation. And you don't get people with that uncomfortable feeling of, well, what does the software monitor? I mean, I've had people email saying, well, they're going to install this on my home computer because I'm using a VPN from home. What is it actually monitoring? I'm like, well, we monitor, we're managing the health of the machine. The only alerts that we get is, if there's a hardware problem or low memory or something of that nature. And then they feel comfortable. But they assume, and just like your friend, he was thinking, well, if they install something on my phone, it's a security software. So they must be tracking everything I'm doing. I don't want them seeing
Absolutely.
what web pages I'm going to and what I'm searching for on my phone.
And I
And
don't
that's
blame
not
him for feeling that way.
I don't either, but it's an educational thing for us MSPs to understand that we live in technology all day, every day, and we
Hmm.
understand the difference in monitoring and management, and our end users don't. And so, if you're having a difficult time having a conversation with a client or new prospect, then maybe you should be thinking about the technology or the terminology that you're using as you're talking to them. Because
Yeah, and
honestly,
I remember having those conversations, man. And they'd be like, "Well, what are you monitoring?" And I'd be like, "Well, you know, I, let me just tell you, I remotely like see your screen and stuff like that. Sure, but let me tell you, I've got way more important things to do than watch your employees play Angry Birds all day long. Like, I just don't care what you're doing. I'm only going to remotely and like, but having that conversation, when before you actually know the right words to say and the right way to approach that conversation, it's almost like you're digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole that
yeah,
you can never get out of just because you keep giving them more ammunition. Like, well, can you see our screens? Well, I mean, yeah, I can see your screens, but like, I mean, no, you just, yeah, I can see your screens. Like now you're screwed now, like because they're already assuming you're monitoring your big brother. So just changing that from monitoring to management, man,
yeah,
good for
it's
you.
huge. And and the other thing that we talk to them about is we say we will never take over the screen of a machine without
Hmm.
having you on the phone or asking permission first. And so therefore it just gives them that peace of mind knowing that, hey, he said that he wasn't going to do this, so we are, we don't have time to sit around and look at people's screens and see what they're doing. If we have
You
full
really
access to
don't.
your data, we have full access to your data. We're backing it up, we're sending it off in the cloud. I mean, why would I want to look at your screen? If I wanted a spreadsheet, I can go grab what I want. That's not what I'm in business to do. I'm in business
Hmm.
to protect you from the bad guys. I'm not the bad guy, but I have to think like a bad guy so that I can protect you from them. So
Yep.
it's all an education in how you talk to the prospects and clients and let them know what you're actually doing and why you need these tools. But that, passwords, and then 2FA on everything. And then the next thing that we did was we changed all the wireless throughout our
Ooh.
office. And so we reset the passwords, and we don't allow anybody on our network that is not an approved device that is either owned by the company or protected by our management tools. And
And
so,
if an employee, office manager brought in their personal device,
yep,
you won't let them on the corporate network. Now, you
that
might
is
have a
correct.
guest network that has
We
the
do.
network isolation, still
Yep,
probably has a password, but
yep,
you at least let them use that so they can get internet access on their iPad or Apple Watch or whatever.
that's correct. So the guest Wi-Fi is just that, a guest Wi-Fi, and any device that is not on a bring your own device or national computer owned, it does not connect to our internal Wi-Fi. And that's a very simple thing to do. We've done that for
Absolutely, yeah.
clients as well, because over time you start getting creep where people, they one of the managers let one cell phone on and somebody else couldn't access something during a meeting, so they keyed in the password for somebody else. Next thing you know,
Hmm.
you've got 15 rogue devices on your internal network, and you're not protecting those devices, and they can do a sideways attack. So that was one of the early things that we did was we killed all devices, and it's a very easy thing to do. Just go change the Wi-Fi password, and people can't connect. And
Yep.
now you know what's on your network and what's not.
Yep. So, what? Just sheer curiosity. What Wi-Fi hardware are you using? Ubiquity.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. And do you manage your own controller, or are you
We
using
do.
like a hosted controller service?
We manage it.
Okay. Is it
Yep.
in your office or in the cloud?
It's cloud based.
Very good.
Yep.
And do you have any advice to MSPs that aren't doing like a managed cloud managed Wi-Fi type thing yet with Ubiquity or anything else?
Well, I mean, it's highly recommended because it can save you rolling a truck. It can save you time, but make sure it does have two-factor authentication.
Mhm.
And if the services you're using doesn't support 2FA, then I highly recommend you look at a service such as Duo. And for MSPs, they can get a Duo, and you have to contact Duo for this, but uh, Duo does offer MSPs like a not for resale licensing model if you
Hmm.
want to test it out and try it out. Obviously, you want to reach out to them. I'm not a rep of theirs, and I have no skin in that game. But the point is to make sure that you're doing that and make sure that you do have remote access to as many of these devices as you can, but ensure that they are protected um, in the cloud with two factor.
Now I'm going to shift a little bit. I notice you're using AirPods.
Yep,
Are we on an iPhone, iPad,
I'm on a
MacBook?
MacBook.
Okay. So I find that refreshing that you are an MSP running a Mac. Is this your like work computer as well?
Yes, it's my only computer.
And are you running Windows or Mac OS?
It's a Mac OS, 100%
So
Mac. Yep,
with the 20, you guys are Kaseya VSA, right?
we are.
So the cool thing about Kaseya VSA, for those of you that don't know, is they've got their, and I don't remember what it's called. I'll call it just the Kaseya remote connection tool. Um, that allows you to remotely connect to your clients from a Mac. They've actually got a Mac app for it. So I love that I'm seeing more and more MSP tools take Mac OS seriously.
Yeah, well, and we have Adigi as well for
Mm,
management of those Macs. And so more and more clients are picking up Macs and
yep,
using Macs. And so if you're an MSP and you've been afraid of Macs, it's time to embrace the change. And
I
it's
love
time to
Mac.
embrace them and start supporting them because they're not going away, obviously. And if you're not going to protect them, then an MSP in your city may. And so you could potentially lose out on business.
So
So
and just because you brought it up earlier, here's the crime map for my neighborhood. I'm in the third safest neighborhood for my city, and they're all blue, so that means they're all safe, right?
uh, let's see. I think the scale gets as it gets darker, it's more dangerous. So violent
Yeah,
property crimes 272. So
yeah.
property crimes is what I was talking about.
Oh, I know. But
So,
there's only 10 crimes, 10 and a half crimes for every 1,000 people in Medina. So I'm really not worried about it. I'm sorry, 11 and a half. I was looking at just 10 and a half property
for
crimes
property,
for every
right? Yep.
thousand residents. And I think what's the average? 4 residents per home, maybe. So we're in good shape.
All right.
I'm fine. This is fine.
Sure. That's what everybody
Like that
thinks.
like that little dog with the fire around it. This is fine.
Yeah, that'll be all right. It's funny because you can lock down everything on a client's network. You can put in the best security, you can take all these measures, and you think, man, I've got everything protected. And you get one user that clicks on a stinking link in an email, or they get a hacker that calls in on the phone and says, hey, can you go to this website and just accept this real quick? Or hey, can you send me some iTunes gift cards, or can you transfer that money to this account, to here's the tracking number or the routing number, right? So we can do everything in our power to lock down everything. and that user can unravel and circumvent the system and allow the hacker a backdoor into the system. And
Users
so
are
even though
users are literally the worst.
even though your crime rate is 17% or whatever the number was, right? It's low, but that is still a risk that you're taking by leaving it, logged in, or in your case, SolarWinds won't let you. So they're actually protecting you from yourself. I said that as nice as I could.
Whatever. All right. So you mentioned you use excuse me. You mentioned you use Ubiquity Wi-Fi APs. What do you use for routers and firewalls?
Palo Alto.
Hmm.
So it's got the full security suite. So it's monitoring everything. It's fed into a SOC. It's got SIM. It is being monitored 24/7. So if there's any activity, anything that's rogue, anything that pops up on our network, we are notified of that, and it is swiftly taken care of. Should it pop up on the network? But to be honest with you, I mean, Palo Altos are like the best in breed. So that is what we're taking to market. It's what we're going to market with. They are expensive, but you get what you pay for. So a lot of MSPs are going to go with a lower end router or lower end firewall because they don't want to spend the money. But
Or their
how
clients
much
don't.
money is it? That's what you think until you go and propose it and let them see what the value is and why they should be paying more. And I think that's the key thing is we assume that our clients won't pay. But I can tell you that if you go and have the conversation with them and you set this up properly, you may find out that they actually will pay and they're willing to pay for that security, especially now, because they're starting to see a lot of other companies that are being hacked, a lot of big companies hitting the news, and they don't want to lose the business that they have built through the years and just lose that overnight because they didn't spend a little bit more money on a enterprise level firewall.
Yeah, the last thing you want to be is that guy, you know. So
I'm telling you.
I'm definitely with you there. So you mentioned that you have Palo Alto fed into a SOC SIM type environment.
Yep.
Talk to me about that. Who's providing the SOC SIM?
We use a company called Blockworks,
Oh,
and they're out in California. You may know Rob Bowles and his team. They're all military, ex-military, so it's all dress right dress. It's very organized. It's very well executed in what they do, and security is all they focus on. And so that's what we use to make sure that we enable the protection in our MSP as well as our clients. So, Palo Altos have 0-day vulnerability updates to where if one of them sees a 0-day, then you're going to have that update across the world in a matter of minutes to all the other Palo Altos.
I gotta say their website, like the above the fold here, is really
Mm-hmm.
busy, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I didn't say they were web designers.
That's fair. That's fair. Like as you scroll down, it gets better. It gets better.
Yeah.
But
I
just want to say that like for those of you that are like, yeah, I looked at Blockworks, but they seem like crap. A lot of times, I know people will make a judgment or an opinion about a company based on what they see when they immediately go to their website. So I would say don't judge them based on this very busy thing that you're seeing here. And also Blockworks, if you're watching this, which of course you're watching this, everyone should be watching this, right? But
That's right.
But Blockworks, I would say that when you hover over managed security services, if I click on this, it just goes to they add a pound or hashtag to the end of that. So in your WordPress settings, Mr. Blockworks, you can change the link in your menu and get rid of the hashtag, and then this will no longer be clickable, and it will make your website just more gooder. I think that's the technical term, more gooder. Um,
Or gooder.
yeah, yeah. So advanced English. True
I'm
story.
down with it. It's from
Yeah.
Ohio, right?
Why do I feel like that's
Uh,
a stab at Ohio, man?
yeah. I don't know. I'm sitting in Tennessee, so hey, not much better.
I bet the weather's kind of beautiful right there.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
sunny and 70 today. It is beautiful.
Sunny and 70. Alexa, what's the temperature? 41. High of 42, 43. So it's going to get 2 degrees warmer.
There you go.
Ugh. Wow. So we talked about some of the things that you did to kind of secure yourselves. We talked about your router firewall. What about
Yep.
switching? Are your switches also Ubiquity?
Yes. Yeah,
Good.
they are. And so, really when you think about the meat and potatoes is, you want to make sure that everything is managed. If you should get some device that is compromised, then you want to be able to shut that off. And so if you've not been selling managed switches and you're not looking at what data is flowing through them, then it's time that you start looking at higher end technology and really understanding how the network can run. And things are set up in VLANs as well. So segmented off, they're separated, and just really looking at, like if your engineers are bringing equipment in that can't be plugged up to your LAN, it has to be on its own separate network. So when you're talking about switching, just make sure that you are using something that is manageable. And then the other things that we need to talk about, Steve, is like your Office 365. And this is something that a lot of people just don't know. And I can send you a link. The link's in the book. It was in I was doing a giveaway for a while that was including it as well. But it's a Office 365 lockdown tool. And the Office 365, there's a site that you can go to. And when you go to that site, it's you log in as the admin of your Office 365, and it's going to tell you the score of your current Office 365 settings. And unfortunately, when you log in for the first time, it's based on a score out of like 512 or some odd number like that. And the average score that we've seen out of the box is 37. And
I was going to
so,
guess 31.
yeah, it's pretty low.
Mm.
And so, right out of the box, Office 365 is not secure. Now, the reason I bring this up and why I was sharing it as part of when I was sending people to the MSSPplaybook.com was to get them to, pre-register for the book when the book did launch, and I was giving away this lockdown tool. It comes with instructions on how to get into it and then how to actually run it. But what you want to think about is not just looking at your own score for your MSP, but any new client or prospect you go look at, using it for them, as well as looking at your existing clients. So look at your own MSP first, find out what your score is, start changing the settings inside of Office 365, and it walks you through. It shows you what needs to change to increase your score. And then based on that, then run it on a few of your clients, preferably your top clients and the ones that pay you the most, because you're doing them a disservice if you're not running this tool. Based on that, now you have a sales tool to go and wedge out another MSP by showing the prospect how low of a score they have because their MSP is not looking They are not looking at the score and taking care of them from a security standpoint. Makes sense. So
Yeah. The problem though is, the higher that score gets, the more annoying Office 365 becomes.
and the less likely you are to get your email compromised, hacked.
Who nobody cares about that. They care about how easy it is to get logged in, and they just
Yep.
want to. Yeah.
And that's why the company advertises their easy button, because everybody just wants it easy. You just want to be able
Yeah.
to push the button and it's logged you in, and it doesn't work that way anymore.
Okay. Um. Hmm. Let's see. So, there's one thing that's been really distracting me this whole time, Charles.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Can you can't guess what it is?
I don't know. That I have no hair.
That's not where I was going. I feel like you haven't had hair for years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Turn around. What am I seeing, man? You got some fun blinking lights going on here.
Where's that?
Right behind you.
Oh, you
It
talking about
looks
the
like
purple lights?
yeah.
Oh, that's my break of dawn moonlights or sunrise lights for my fish tank.
Oh, okay. So it's not like your little grow room for all your weed or something?
No, this is the back. this this is the back side of the fish tank.
Okay.
So
So
and
so there's another room on the other side of everything then.
there is,
That's kind of neat. So
yeah.
what kind of fish you got?
There's some angelfish and there's some barbs, and that's the inside tank. And then I've got the built-in lighting, and it changes throughout the day. So it's sunrise to sunset. And then outside, I have a koi pond.
That's really cool,
It's,
man.
yeah, so that's the one that I
S-
really like.
So, do you have any other pets?
My kids do.
You're a fish guy,
Yes,
not a dogs or cat guy.
we have both.
Ah, that's
They
fair.
live under the same house, and they play.
Well, that's good. We had a dog and we have a cat, and our cat thinks she's a dog, so she like
Mm,
plays fetch. She begs me to rub her belly. Um, she hates other cats. She loves dogs though, even stranger dogs. Like she loves dogs.
yeah,
She hates cats. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Um, and she thinks she's a dog.
that's funny.
It's bizarre, man. So what so I'm sure you've started to realize that I just like to say off the wall things. So, we were talking about the Office 365.
Yep.
I know that at one point they called it the secure score. I think they've since renamed it. Like they rename everything every other week with Office 365, or move it around, or make a new admin portal or whatever. Like Office 365 is constantly changing, and I
Yep.
know it's for the better. I really do, but it drives me up a flippin' wall, man.
Yep.
And I am a G Suite user, and I have been now for, I want to say, over a year. And it's the longest that it might be over 2 years actually, Charles, and it's the longest that I've stayed on a product, uh, almost. So I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Okay, I'm the one
Okay.
that changes something within my business. I used to anyway, every 3 to 6 months. So
Hmm.
I'd swap out an RMM or a PSA or something every 3 to 6 months. And the reason I would do that, and it took me years to actually um, realize the true reason I was doing it. I was afraid to go out and sell. I didn't want to go out and talk to prospects and potential clients, so I would give myself busy work. I would
Okay.
Oh, I'll switch from Kaseya to what did I mean, I tried every RMM at least twice, every
Okay.
single one, man. I would switch from you know Centra Stage to Kaseya to gosh, what was it before it was Continuum?
Was it Zenith?
Yeah, Zenith Info. Like I tried them all, man.
Yeah.
I I was on every iteration of Hound Dog. So Hound Dog, GFI Max, Logic Now, and now Solar Winds. Like I've been on every iteration, and I'm on Solar Winds now. I've been on it for I want to say 6 or 7 months now. Before that, I was on Kaseya for a year, 2 years. Like I was on. I'm doing really well now. I have that problem under control.
I think you left out level platforms.
Oh, I did that one twice.
Yeah. Okay.
I, oh, I'm not kidding when I say I did every one of them twice.
People,
Even the
some people
crappy
probably,
ones.
people probably don't even know some of these names.
Well, the sad thing is like is level platforms, is managed workplace still even a thing? Because like it got sold off from level to AVG to something else, right?
Yeah, I don't even know. I have a
I
clue, man.
almost feel bad for that product because it really wasn't a bad product. Oh, it's owned by Barracuda MSP now.
Okay.
If they had just done a couple things to it, it actually would have been a really fantastic product. And I think today, the one that I see the most potential in, and when I say potential, I mean I'm like rooting for the underdog,
Mm.
because I feel like ConnectWise is the monster. The
Okay. Right.
ConnectWise is. So I feel like the one that I see the most potential in would be Synchro. The one that
Mm.
I really like all the neat features they've added recently is Datto.
Okay.
I really like that they've added that new HTML remote control tool where you don't even have to have something installed, so you can remote control from your iPad right from the browser.
Nice.
Seems neat,
Yeah.
um, but I don't know how much of it's gimmicky. I don't know how much of it actually functions.
Yeah. Well, you brought up
Because
a good point, and so I have a question for you. Are are you still on that track of changing every 3 to 6 months, or are you actually going out and now selling and doing what you should do to grow your MSP?
no, I'm doing what I should be doing, which means while I find these tools like intriguing, like yeah, it's really interesting what Synchro's doing, and it's really interesting what
Hmm.
Datto's doing. I at the same time, I just don't have the bandwidth internally to just screw around with stuff every day like I used to, and it makes me sad because some days I'm like I just really wish I could play with toys.
Sure, but doesn't it make you happy to make money?
Oh, absolutely. I love making money. I'm not going to complain about that. I
So
just,
what was it about sales that kept you from? Did you have a fear of no? Did you have a
oh,
fear
absolutely.
of?
Fear of rejection. It's the same reason I didn't ask a girl out in high school. Just that whole fear. It's that fear of rejection, man. Uh, which, I mean, hey, good news. I'm married now. And all it took was like 7 months of stalking.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's all
I,
you have to do.
I'm looking over at her to see if I get any type of reaction. And she's like, please stop looking at me. Please stop.
She's like, I fell for it.
Yeah, she really did. I think the best one that she fell for though is you're gonna like this. So I told her back when we started dating, I was like, I really like a clean house. And I was always complaining about my roommate because he's a slob, which he was. I mean, he'd just like take off socks and throw them randomly all over the like living room, dining room, didn't matter. He was just an absolute slob. Um and then we move in together and she's complaining that she's constantly cleaning, and I'm like, well, thanks. And she's like, well, why don't you do anything? I'm like, Well, I said I like a clean place. I never said I like to clean the place. So I still give her a hard time about that one, man.
Yeah.
I
I'll stay out
every,
of that one.
every now and then you just got to trick them, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, so you said you have kids.
Yep.
Are they out of the house? They in the house?
I'd like for them to be out of the house. They're old enough, but
Oh, so
but,
if they're old
but yeah.
enough to be out of the house, then that means they're old enough to know, Dad, 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 like, is not acceptable while you're in the middle of a podcast recording, right?
Oh yeah, they've walked by 2 or 3 times. They're good. They know.
Yeah, mine still are working on that.
Yeah.
7 and 14, man. Let me tell you, it's my favorite time.
Yeah.
So they've been pretty good today, though.
Good.
All right, so talk to me more about some of the other things that you've done for your company.
Well,
Uh,
let's hit on sales
oh
because this
no,
yeah let's
that's a
do
good
it
one to talk about. Let's do this.
because you made a couple of references. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
you avoided sales and you
Oh,
kept yourself
absolutely.
busy, and
Mm-hmm.
number two, you said your clients won't pay for it.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Isn't that what every MSP says though? Oh, my clients wouldn't pay for this.
exactly.
How would
So
you know unless you ask?
exactly. And why are you spending their money in your head? You don't
Mm-hmm.
know how much money they have. You don't know. Did you pick the car that they're driving? Did you pick out the rent and the building that they're in?
Yeah.
Pick out the insurance, the health care that they're paying for their employees? How
And
would you know if they'll spend money or not?
that's one thing that I actually learned quickly. Um, I actually think I knew that one before I started my company. Thankfully, was it's not my money; it's their money. And I love spending other people's money, Charles. Let me tell you,
Yeah,
I'm good at
great.
it. I'm better at spending my money, but it's because then I get the toys to play with and they're mine, but I love spending other people's money because I still get toys to play with. You want to
Exactly.
you need to get this new server, or you need to get this Surface Book 3 or whatever the latest Surface Book.
Or
I'm
you
good
need to
at it,
get the
man.
security stack.
Exactly.
And yeah,
So the thing about other people's money is it's really none of your business how much they have or how much they're willing to part with or anything like that. It's your business to explain to them the risk versus the reward,
yes.
and that's really what every financial transaction is. There's a little bit of risk and there's a little bit of reward, and obviously there's more of that involved when we're talking about things like stock market, but there's still some of that involved when it comes to buying stuff for your company. You could go out and buy a router, and the risk is doesn't get set up correctly and it doesn't do you any good. The reward is it gets set up correctly, and it it prevents a bunch of stuff that you never even
Yep.
realize we're trying to get in. And what did you have to spend? A few $1,000s. Like, what's a few $1,000s to some of these companies that you're working with, guys? I mean, really, you know, s- if your client is like a small mom and pop shop that maybe they only do $350,000 a year, sure, it might be a harder sell, but it's your responsibility to explain to them this, and give them a good, better, best scenario, right?
Mhm.
Explain to them, hey, look, here's kind of where your security is right now. Here's where I would like it to be, and here's what it would take for it to be there. I can do it, and here's how much it would cost. And I understand that that one is too much for you after you explained it, and they're like, I can't afford that. I understand that. That's why I've also got this solution,
Yep.
which I think might fit more in line with your budget. It's still going to boost your security. It's not going to be up here where I wanted it, but it's going to be much better than what it is now. Oh, well, that makes a lot. So it's good to go in there with the good, better, best prepared, but lead with the best. You
Well,
know, you
and forget that you even have a good.
absolutely,
So you can just go in
absolutely.
with better, and best. And you can set your own standards and say, look, this is from this day forward, this is all we're going to sell. There are
Mhm.
these two solutions. And whatever you choose, if that's a Fortinet firewall and a Palo Alto, and we're going to go pitch the Palo Alto. And if you think you can't afford that, then you're going to get the Fortinet. And I'm not going to fall back to something else.
Good for
There is
you.
no reason to fall back. And you know, but the thing that you also need to understand is MSPs get not only stuck on not going to sell to their new clients, but they're already under an agreement with their existing client.
Yeah.
Now they want to add a SIM. They want to upgrade them to an enterprise level firewall. They want to add a single piece of software and advance in threat detection like Rocket Cyber or even uh, Huntress, and they get scared that this $5 is going to the client's going to say no. But I can tell you that the approach that I took was when we started looking at a security stack, we went to every existing client, all of my bigger clients, and I had breakfast with them. And I said, hey, what I sold you a year ago, 2 years, 5, 10 years ago, however long they've been a client, isn't protecting your information as good today as it was when I sold it to you. There are new technologies, new tools. Hackers are coming up with creative ways to come in and circumvent our systems, and so there's newer technology to us that's being brought into our marketplace, the small business.
Hmm.
It was only available in enterprise, and so the banks could afford it, the Home Depots, the Targets, all the big companies could afford this stuff, but smaller companies couldn't. A lot of vendors are bringing that to the small business, and so the pricing, they're buying it in bulk and allowing us to resell it so we can bring it to market. We're testing these things out, and as we bring them to market, I'm going to be coming back to you in the next 3 to 6 months, and I'm going to be talking to you about what these are going to cost you so that it can better protect your business because you've worked years in growing your business, growing your client base, and we don't want hackers to come in and compromise your systems and shut your business down. So I'm going to be back to talk to you about pricing in the months ahead. And so you don't just walk in there and say, "Hey, I got this new product. Not sure exactly how it works, but we're installing it and it's going to cost you an extra $50 a month per user or whatever." You can't do that. You have to stage it, let them know that it's coming, and then when you do come in to talk to them about it, you can remind them about that breakfast or lunch that you had with them. And I prefer that you get them out of the office so it's more of that relationship building. You don't have to talk just about technology. You can talk about life in general. You can talk about their business. You can talk about whatever, grandkids.
Hmm.
You'd be surprised. I mean, I've talked about quilting conferences. Never knew they existed, right? But by talking and engaging with my clients one on one at a breakfast meeting, it wasn't a business meeting. Didn't really have an agenda. It was just to educate them on changes coming. Then we built out our security stack. We went back to our clients. And last year alone, we upsold over $45,000 in recurring revenue to our existing clients already under agreements. And a lot of MSPs just think, well, this new endpoint, I'm going to replace antivirus with this managed endpoint protection, and it's going to cost me $10 a month. I'm just going to eat it. I'm going to add Huntress. It's going to cost me $2, $3, $4, whatever the cost is on that. I'll just have to eat it instead of
Right.
going and talking to your clients and letting them know that you're building out a security stack and we need better protection to protect from these new threats. And the threat landscape has changed. The risk is higher now to run a business.
Hmm.
These guys will get in. They don't have compliance standards that they have to live by. They'll do whatever they can to come in and attack your network and your clients' networks. And so it's best to go ahead and get your security stack, build it within your own MSP, test it out, vet it, and then go to market with it.
So, what is your approach to a client that maybe has had to kind of tighten the purse strings because they just they don't actually have the money to do some of the security stuff that you really need them to do?
So I'm in a little bit different position today than other MSPs. Back in the day, I would say, okay, just go with what you can. Today,
Mhm.
we have a what we call data security essentials. It's a baseline of our security stack, and it includes everything in our stack, but it doesn't include the labor. Now, I don't go after new
Mm.
business for this. I went after old legacy clients that I've known for 15, 20 years, and I upgraded them so that they got on this monthly thing. So we converted a lot of the old break fix clients over to this model. Anybody that did not go with our basic data security essentials, our base security package, they went away. But I'm in a position, like I said, today, because we've built the company, we've been growing the company over the past several years. So we can pick and choose who we work with. And so I can afford to turn clients away and say, I'm sorry, we can no longer work with you. But last year, when we built out our security stack, we said every single client has to have it. If they're an old legacy break fix client, even if we've been friends since back in the 90s, early 90s, then they just have to understand that we just can't protect them the way they need to be protected. And I'm getting too old to have uncomfortable conversations. And the uncomfortable conversations come when you get a data breach, you get a virus, you get ransomware because we didn't protect you. And you say, well, I'm paying you for that. And I remind you that you had the option to pay me for this, but you chose not to. They conveniently forget about that piece, that they chose not to go with the preferred, right, the best solution, because we gave them a good solution. So therefore, we just got rid of the good solution, and I've avoided those conversations because we don't have those problems anymore. We don't have those uncomfortable conversations, and them thinking that we are taking care of their IT. So today, if they say, "Well, you guys take care of our IT," you're correct. We've sold you this security stack. So every single client has the security stack in place.
Very cool. So let's talk about, I'll call it the elephant in the room, Charles. It's a pretty big elephant, pretty dangerous elephant. Coronavirus.
Mm.
What well, how is COVID-19 impacting your business, your local or region, or whatever? How is it impacting your area?
Well, it's obviously impacting the entire world, is
Of course.
but here in Nashville, what we're seeing, restaurants are open for carry out only. A lot of companies have shut down. um Clients that we have that were working in the retail or the restaurant space are no longer producing their products, so they are shutting down. Um, and then we have other clients that we're looking at. They were in the entertainment business, and they can't meet with their clients, so they are letting people go. So you have clients that are shutting down systems, but we have other clients that are also purchasing new equipment. They're taking advantage of the time to upgrade because nobody's in the office. We have a couple of clients that are actually moving during this time. And so they're going to be moving to a new location, and there's nobody in their offices. Their offices are locked down. And so we'll be moving that equipment in the next few weeks to their new location. But the key thing that you have to remember is even during this pandemic, you should absolutely be marketing, going to market, and going after new business. So we're doing voice over IP cross sell campaigns. We're doing we're doing Facebook ads. We're doing a lot of Facebook posts. I'm looking at LinkedIn ads. But more importantly, because I have done speaking engagements, um, I said, our clients probably need to know information. So I sent an ask campaign asking our clients. It was an email that went out to all of our clients asking them what they would like more information on. And surprisingly, they wanted a tutorial on how to use Zoom because most of them didn't know how to use it. Very simple for us. We use it, every week. They wanted to know how to use Microsoft Teams and or Slack. And very few of them were concerned about SBA because they're getting that information from other people. And I saw a lot of MSPs jumping on the SBA bandwagon as an educational piece. But I took what I learned from my clients, and we're doing a series of webinars. But I'm recording one on Thursday to a company that does CPE credits. And so I'm going to be in front of all the CPAs throughout Tennessee. I'm not pitching them anything. I'm not selling them anything, but I'm the educational piece. I'm the educator in my marketplace. I've reached out to the local MGMA, Medical Group Management Association, the Middle Tennessee Legal Administrators Group. I've reached out to the Tennessee Bar Association. I've reached out to nonprofit CFO organizations. I've reached out to SunTrust Bank businesses. I've reached out to local banks to see if they want to do a webinar where I'm not pitching any of our products, but we're getting our marketing, our name out there, and we're giving back to the community. It's all for goodwill, and obviously it's all for branding as well. But we have a wealth of knowledge of how to stay safe, how to use this technology, how to work remote. And obviously we helped all of our clients that were still functioning get set up to work remotely. But as far as how is it affecting the business, I can tell you that we lost a client because another MSP was pitching them, and they came through and they cut the price, and they came in with I haven't seen the solution, but it's supposed to be a much better solution to move them to the cloud. But their application wasn't cloud ready, and so we lost a client during this to another MSP. So if you think clients aren't buying, I can tell you that they are. Now, the prospects that we worked with over the past 15 months, we sent an email campaign to them as well, saying if you need to be able to work remote, if your IT company's not showing up, please let us know. And it was companies we didn't win. We ended up getting 3 sales meetings out of that, and we just proposed a $7,300 a month prospect that had gone dark on us. They had gone dark on us, and so now we're looking at them going, okay, how can we get back in there? So we sent them the email. Now they've raised their hand saying, hey, let's talk again. And we just did a proposal. So even though COVID is happening, when you look at your state, the governor or your mayor, depending on where you are and who has jurisdiction, what you're going to find is that they have a list of essential businesses. Those are the businesses right now you should be going after and targeting and getting your marketing in front of and reaching out to them, asking them, what can we do? You're an essential business. We're an essential business. How can we help you? And by doing that, then, right now you're not going to go and market to dentists. There's no dentist open except for the ones that are, emergency only. Same thing for vets. It's emergency only. And so it's not a good time to go to market to try to do marketing toward those companies. But for the other businesses that are essential, it's a good time to go to them and educate them. And I was also surprised at how many people asked that we could fish their employees during this time. And they asked for on-demand training as well. So you've got employees that aren't as busy as they once were because they're not in the office. They have time to do the on-demand training. And then if you can send a phishing campaign to see if you can trick their employees into clicking something, it's a good teachable moment. And with this pandemic going on and people working from home, cybercrime is on the rise again. They're always trying to take advantage of these situations. So it's not a good thing that's happening to us. But if you're just sitting there thinking, okay, well, the sky is falling and my business is going out and my clients aren't going to pay me, maybe you should stop and start focusing on what can I control. I can control my marketing going out. I can control talking to my clients. I can pick up the phone and I can talk to them. I can send them emails and asking them questions, and I can ask how can I add value and services to what I've already been delivering to them because they've been a client long term.
Charles, I love it, man. You are amazing at this. So, what about the clients that you might have that can't pay right now? Like I'm sure you might have one or two that, maybe they're hospitality or a dentist office or something where they are shut down and they have
Mhm.
no revenue. What are you doing? What are you doing for those kind of companies? Because I feel like it's really short-sighted to kind of punish a company because we're all going through this pandemic right now, right?
Mhm.
Some of us are luckier than others, you know.
Sure.
So I feel like it's short-sighted to punish a company for going through some rough times right now when in 4 or 5 months maybe they'll be back up running and they'll absolutely need you.
So typically they're going to have the business owner, the person doing the books. You may have one or two employees. What we're doing is we're saying, okay, who is working, who is there, which machines need to be on, which ones need to be protected. We're still going to back up your data. We're going to still get that sent off site. We're going to continue our backups, but we're only going to uh, charge you for the machines that are actually being used. So if we can go in, turn the machines off, verify that they're off, we'll remove the agent from our portal. So in the event that they turn the machine back on, it will be reprotected again. But we're not going to charge for those machines that are actually turned off. And so we had one client, they let go 135 employees. So we worked with them and we said, okay, let's shut those machines off. Once the machines are off for X number of days, we know which machines they are. We know which machines are still being used because you still have some essential staff that you've retained. Uh, then we're only going to charge you for those machines that are being used during this time. And that's how we're working with it. And it's on a case by case basis. So each client's going to be different. It's going to be depending on what their circumstances are. We have CPA firms that they had they were originally going to have 6 interns. They no longer have interns. So we're not billing for those 6 devices anymore. Well, yeah, it costs me money, but I'm going to take care of the client long term because they're a long term client. And business is going to come back, and the next year or this fall they're going to have interns. When it's business as usual, then things will be turned back on, and we'll be there. So we want to be there for our clients when they're in their highs, when they're growing, and when they're buying new businesses and bringing on new employees. And we want to be there for them during this downturn when they don't have the money, they don't have the capital to spend. Maybe they can't purchase new equipment, or they're having a hard time just maintaining. So I'm not going to bill them for a regular full month even though they have 100 less employees. How can I do that? So why not shut off the machines? It won't cost me any money to leave those machines turned off. I'm not paying anybody support for those. And then when they turn them back on, we start billing for them again. You're muted.
Sorry. I feel like I don't know about you, man, but I'm just kind of like over it. This whole
Hmm.
being stuck at home thing, like I I am the kind of person where, I think maybe even a couple weeks ago in a podcast, I might have said, "This is awesome. I love everything about this. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to do anything." But it's finally taking its toll. And I think even introverts are finally starting to feel the effects of this. What what would you say to the people that are watching or listening that are hating everything about this, and not for the business reasons, but maybe for like the personal health? mental health type reasons?
Sure. Well, a couple of things. Number one, you've got to remain active, and you can't get to the gym, but you don't need a gym to do push-ups, sit-ups, walking around your driveway, walking up and down the street. It's allowed for you to go outside. You're just not supposed to be in proximity with other people. You can't be in groups.
But
So
but
going,
Charles, I can't I can't do that kind of stuff. I'm actually allergic to exercise. I
hmm,
um I
does that
found
make you
that
hurt?
it's crazy. Like I have troubles breathing. My face goes flush. I start sweating a lot. My heart starts racing. So yeah, I can't exercise. It's bad for me.
Well, you know what the cure for that is?
I'm sure you're gonna tell me. Is it more cowbell?
No, it's more exercise because the more of it you do, the less of those symptoms you have.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I interrupted to make a snarky joke.
Oh no,
So
you're fine.
you're saying get out there, do some exercise, walk the dog, do something, so that way you
Something.
can go out and be active. But what about the people that just need to be around people?
Then that's what Zoom is for. A couple weeks ago on Friday night, I hosted a happy hour, and I just wanted to raise a toast to the men and women that are out there, the MSPs in our community that are, working on getting people set up remote. And we had a great turnout, great time. And during that call, we asked for people to share what they're grateful for, and and then you can also share what you're optimistic about. And the funny thing is like I have family that we never have family reunions. Well, they were all on a Zoom call one
That's
one
great.
evening last week, and I've been texting people that I haven't talked to in a long time. And here's an
That's great,
idea
man.
for business. If you want to talk to people, go into your LinkedIn account, scroll the very bottom of your messages, the very bottom. You probably haven't talked to these people in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, depending on when you signed into LinkedIn, and hit them up and said, "Hey, man, it's been a minute since we've talked. How's things going? How you doing during this pandemic? Love to chat with you sometime." And you know what's going to happen is just go hit those last five or the oldest five messages today. Go hit the oldest five tomorrow, and you're going to have conversations and interaction with people that you have long forgotten about, or you just haven't reached out to in a while. The other thing is, go to your phone, open up your messages, your text messages, go to the very end of that. I doubt that I could find the end of mine. I mean, it just keeps going and going and
It
going.
does. It
But
so
but
does.
but I'll tell you, man, I was thinking about somebody the other day. They popped into my head, and I thought, man, I haven't heard from them. So I went to Facebook and I typed in their name, and sure enough, we're still friends, but I don't get anything from their feed. All of their
Mm.
last postings, I didn't see anything. So I liked a couple of things and I hit them up on Messenger. I was like, "Hey, man, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen any of your posts. And, how's the family?" I mean, there's conversations that can be had in the palm of your hand right here. I mean, you've got the phone, you got the camera right here, and it's why not? I mean, you and I are sitting here having a talk. I mean, I'm in Tennessee, you're in Ohio. What's keeping us
It's true.
from having a conversation?
I like that idea. So I think I'm gonna go through my oldest text messages that I still have right now. All right, my first oldest one, free message, Chase fraud. Thank you for confirming your transaction activity.
That's funny.
Hey,
You don't have to reply
hey,
back to them.
hey, dude, how you doing?
So let me
Was
say this. I was I was in a Starbucks one day waiting in line for coffee. It's a long line, back when it was normal, right? Scrolling through, hit this guy up. He hits me back. He's like, "Man, I've been thinking about you." He said, "I got this event coming up." He said, "Are you still doing speaking on cybercrime?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." I ended up getting a speaking gig. If I
hmm,
hadn't reached out to him, who knows? I probably wouldn't have gotten the gig. But who knows what other business? Yeah, man, I've been thinking, I've been meaning to talk to, somebody about my IT, and I'm connected with you. I just never reached out to you. You may spur them to take action when they've been, inactive. Oh, I'll get to that one day. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. But by you reaching out to them and just saying, hi, it's been a while. Hope everything's going well. You're not asking for anything. You're not asking for a meeting. You're just saying hi. And man, it's been a while. Hope everything with you and the family's great.
So here's my next oldest message. I think I might be doing this wrong, Charles.
No, what's okay? Go to your 5 oldest messages from people.
Oh boy. I can't stop.
Why didn't you reply to that? Or did you click the link and get infected and then you don't remember?
Wait, what?
Did you click the link and get infected or why didn't you reply to that message?
No comment.
So what's the next oldest? This is fun, man. What's the next one?
I love messing with people, okay?
Yeah.
I just need to preface that. Just offer.
Oh, that's funny.
Why are people texting me about voting stuff? Like that's the thing that I think may upset me the most.
Well, let me share this tip with you. You can hover over that message and hit, or click on it and hold it and then forward it to spam.
I know.
7726. And Apple will report it as spam, and then they'll ask you what number did it come from, and then you're reporting it to Apple as spam.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can just text it to the word spam, or what is it, spam, SP, so it's
7726. Yeah.
7726. You text the message to them. Apple's going to reply and say, what number did this come from? And then you say the phone number, that 844 number right there, and then it'll come back and say, thank you for reporting this. We will take actions to block this. So you can report spam to Apple on an iPhone.
So there was this one. Hi, this is DeWine HQ. Now DeWine is the governor of Ohio, and I've got a lot of respect for how he's handling this whole coronavirus thing.
Yeah.
But 2 years ish ago, they were really all up in my business, and I think there was this one. Here we go. There's a place in a different part of Ohio called Strickland's, and it's an ice cream shop. So here's another one. I just get random text messages from people. I don't know why. I just love troll. Like if people are gonna harass me, I gotta troll them back, man.
And they read it. It shows that they read the message.
It does. Well, what's weird is it's an SMS, so I don't know how it says they read it. It's weird.
Well, they're using a software. So, I use a service called Easy Texting. Use it in my marketing. So you can text the word password to whatever the number is, and I'll do a dark web scan for you. But it doesn't come to my phone. It comes to a website. And,
So I am just going to repeat one more time. I love trolling unrequested communications.
Sure.
The ones I love trolling the most, and I haven't gotten them very much lately. I feel like maybe I got blacklisted because they got sick of me. hello, this is Microsoft technical support. Like those
Hmm.
people. Like
Yeah.
I haven't, or the IRS who just issued a warrant for my arrest. That one was my favorite. I actually recorded that on Zoom and I posted it up on YouTube, where it was the IRS and it was me on the phone with the IRS, obviously not the IRS, and I had a bunch of my buddies in Zoom, other MSPs, and I'm just recording myself have this conversation, and at one point I was so distraught in that call that I shot myself. I committed suicide on the phone call with the support rep,
Oh my God.
and and then one of the other MSPs then like 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later calls that same number and they're like, "Yeah, hi, this is Detective so and so from the FBI.
Oh
We
my
see
God.
that this is the last number that this person was speaking with." Oh, we had a great time, man. But like
Oh, that's
we ended
crazy.
up they shut down that number because of us, which
Oh,
means
I'm
all
sure
the
they didn't want to tracked.
right.
Yeah.
And the best part is they were leaving voicemails. So like they left me a voicemail and asked me to call them back.
Hmm.
So that's what I did. I called them back, and then I went through the whole thing, shot myself, and I played an audio clip of a shotgun going off from my computer, and
Oh my
then
God.
just started like moaning and crying, and then and then yeah, we just love screwing with those guys. But yeah, I haven't had any opportunities lately, man.
Well, they probably took you off they're like, well, this guy's dead. Take him out of the database.
Well, I don't know what like they just stopped calling me and all the other MSPs. I think they finally got fed up with like us because like some of us will like have a VM ready to go, and like some of us were smart enough to I wasn't, but some of us were smart enough to get these guys to give over remote control of their computers.
Hmm.
Uh
Oh
oh,
my God.
I've just seen some really wacky things happen on these calls, man. Have you been hearing much about these types of calls lately?
Not lately. No.
I feel
I,
like
I did.
that's
I did see there was like a CNN report or something. I saw somebody's post. It's Scott D. Beck on
mhm.
LinkedIn had posted a video recording of a guy that actually infiltrated the crime ring and put cameras in their offices, took over the cameras in their offices, and then was talking to the guy while he's on the phone. And he's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he's like, "Well, I'm not." He said, "Yeah, I see that you're doing that on your screen." Like he infiltrated them and showed the inside of what it looked like from the scammers' perspective.
Oh, it's
And
so
so,
great.
oh, it
That
was
is so
awesome. So
great.
Scott D. Beck, I don't know if you're connected with him or not on LinkedIn, but he
I
posted
think I
it.
am, yeah.
It's on his LinkedIn. But I'll tell you something that I do, and you know, I've posted stuff on Craigslist, and Craigslist is like notorious for scammers saying, "Hey, can you ship that to me?
Oh,
I'll
those
send you this money and all this stuff." And or I'm posting this. I'm asking for a friend. Can you email him at this email address? And so they're trying to fish for your email address. So what I started doing is when I post something on Craigslist is I'll put I start out with hackers and scammers. I will report your email and or phone number to ic3.gov. Leave me alone
ooh,
and I'll leave you alone. And I get no scams. I get nobody bother me because it's too much work for them to go set up a new number and a new email address. And it's so easy to just file a complaint and get their number shut down. So I've had those Microsoft guys that say, call me back on this number. I just go report their number. I file a complaint, and within a couple of hours, now this is pre-COVID, within a couple of hours, that number is no longer active
huh,
because the FBI goes in and shuts it down. They see the crime. They've got a system where they can just go shut down that number.
that's really awesome. So I don't feel like I've seen too many Nigerian princes offering me $9 million lately either.
Yeah, no, those are few and far between anymore.
So it's really all about hacking the MSPs, hacking their tools, and getting access to our clients.
Yeah, which is totally why I wrote the book and said, you know what, we need to do a better job of protecting ourselves, putting our oxygen mask on first, and then going to help our clients by putting theirs on. So it's pretty simple, really, if you just take the time. It's not simple. It's time consuming, but it's if you have the list of everything that you need to lock down, then it's easy. It's easier. And here's the thing, and I open this up to anybody that gets the book. Uh, if you find something that I left open that I did not include in the checklist, please let me know. I'll not only revise the book, I'll give you kudos for it, as well as I'll lock it down within my MSP, because I've got a great team of guys that have come in and worked together in doing this. But if my checklist isn't complete, by all means let me know, because this is a community thing. It's something for our community, and if you can help me or tell me what was missed, then you're helping your fellow MSPs.
Thanks, man. And I'm going to put a link to the book in the description below, so that way if anybody is interested in picking up a copy of that, it'll be real easy to get.
Yep,
Um,
cool. I appreciate that.
is there anything else that you want to share for MSPs?
If you're experiencing a slowdown right now, if you've come through this wave of everybody working from home and your support tickets are down, a couple of things to be thinking about. Number one, get the book. And I'm not trying to just make money off the book. I really want people to invest in protecting themselves. And if I give you the book, and it's an ebook and it's a download, and all you got to do is dump in your email address, you're not going to read the book. You're going to download it, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to take up storage on your hard drive, or on your SSD drive. If you buy the book, you pick it up, you get a physical copy of it, you open it up, and you thumb through here, and what you'll see is enable two-factor authentication, and then it's got a checklist, and you write down what your actual, who's your DNS provider, who's your, what's your accounting portal, who's hosting your DNS, who's your website provider, who does your dark web, what about your VoIP portal? Is it two factor? Everything has to be two factor. And this gives you the complete list: cloud controller, Wi Fi, right? Two factor authentication. And it's page after page. And that's not all the text of the book. Obviously, that's just the checklist. And then it goes on to talk about other things. It talks about how to hire a true MSSP partnership. It talks a little bit about compliance. It talks about the threats that are actually there. But the thing that you have to remember, that right now, if you're experiencing a slowdown within your MSP, then it is time to take action, lock down your MSP, get ready to go to market with your security stack. It talks about what should be included in your security stack. It's up to you to enable, your team members to go out and look at these things and evaluate them, but get your team to help you, or your accountability group, or your mentors, your peers, whatever. Work with them and say, hey, what are you using in your stack? Build out your stack, put it in your MSP, and then get it ready to go to market. And when I say go to market, I'm not saying if it costs you $4, or if your stack costs you 12, go sell it for 15. You
Oh,
need to be
that's
getting
foolish.
65 to 70% gross profit margin on this stuff. Your
Hmm.
clients don't know what they should be paying for security. Other MSPs aren't selling it. Get 70 points on it so that you can train your staff. The other thing is, what we're focused on right now is we're doing training. I've got my guys going through Windows Azure training. They're getting their certifications. We're going through Microsoft Teams trainings. They're getting their certs on that. They're going through, some of the younger engineers are getting their Network Plus or Security Plus. So we're taking this time where we have less tickets, and we're letting guys spend an entire day or 2 days going through training and then get a certification. And right now is the time to train up your people and invest in them while they can afford and you can afford to have the time for them to spend training. Usually we're busy. We're taking tickets. We never have time to read. We never have time to look at books. We never have time to study or test, put test environments in place. If you're not busy as an MSP, now is the time to be focused on educating your team and building out your security stack and locking down your MSP.
Wonderful. Charles, thanks so much for hopping on here and doing this with me, man.
Yeah, Steve,
Um,
thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, like I said, check out the description below. I think I'm going to figure out how to put a card up here ish on YouTube so that way you can easily, yeah, here, there, that way. Uh, that way you can click on it and it'll just make it real easy for you to get to his book. So thanks, Charles. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank
And
you,
I
Steve.
hope, I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
I'll see you.